Touch costs 20 taels. A kiss 50. 100 for the night. Dad wanted Shenan as his son-in-law, but he said, I reeked of money, would only marry a refined girl, so I had a matchmaker find me, someone willing to marry in. She brought Chen Yinyu, Shenan's rival. Orphaned, dead broke, but gorgeous, Chen Yinyu declared with conviction. My life's one wish.
Just find a good home.
And marry in. I told him to be honest. He switched gears, frank and open. I am greedy. I want to live off a woman, the matchmaker gasped. I just smiled. Greed works. Pay him enough. He is the most obedient husband, better than those who want profit, fame, and your worship. That's hypocrite. I beckoned him over. Come here. Chen Yinyu stepped closer. I reached up and parted the bead curtain. As the beads clinked, in the clear light, for the first time, I saw his face. My breath caught, stunning, like the ink orchid painting, hanging in my study, pure to the extreme, yet, breathtakingly striking, bold features, subdued by plain robes, restrained. Name your price. I kept it brief. He paused, thinking, then looked up, eyes clear and sharp, fixed on me.
Touch, 20 taels. Kiss, 50. One night, 100.
I raised an eyebrow, serious. Chen Yinyu didn't flinch. His tone was firm. Miss Jin.
I dare quote that price, because I am worth it.
I didn't answer. Not because he asked too much. He asked too little. With looks like his, at the Spring Breeze Pavilion, 500 a night would sell out. Lucky me. Found someone who doesn't know the market. I looked at him, a slow smile spreading. 800. You marry into the Jin family. That is your price. I am buying you outright. Chen Yinyu's eyes flickered. He waited. Anything else you do? Extra. Hi, Jinyu, take care of my people. The matchmaker barely dared to breathe. I shifted gears. Just one condition. Stay quiet. Just do your job. Don't cause trouble. Chen Yinyu paused a bit. Then, a faint smile curved his lips. You are quick, Miss Jin. He held out his hand. Palm up, long fingers, clean knuckles. Then, a deposit, if you will. I had my servant fetch the banknotes. The matchmaker tipped, left beaming. I slid the notes across to Chen Yinyu. He blinked, startled. A glint passed through his eyes. 400 deposit. When it is done. Another 400. Chen Yinyu stared at the stack, then let out a soft laugh.
Miss Jin, aren't you scared? I'll take the cash.
And vanish. I picked up my teacup, blew off the phone, with a smile. Why would I? My tone softened. I trust your character. 400 taels. If he ran, I wouldn't even bother chasing him. Just money tossed in the water. Chen Yinyu watched me, his gaze shifting. Then carefully tucked the notes away. His hand brushed the edge of the paper. That look in his eyes, like he'd found a lifelong meal ticket, solid and content. I sighed inwardly. This kid's got no clue what real wealth looked like. Chen Yinyu did have some professional pride. That afternoon, he showed up with a worn incense burner. Said since he'd taken the deposit, he should move in. To ease my mind, I had someone prepared a room. Didn't deal with him. Business was crazy. Worked late. Just about to rest. A soft knock at the door. Touch costs 20 taels. A kiss 50. A night together. 100. All because I took this deal. My live-in husband came to me every night. Chen Yinyu stood at the door, damp with mist, hair half wet. Just a loose robe over him. Collar open. Candlelight softened his face. Soul-eating spirit. Voice softer than day. Carried the chill of the night air.
You paid. Time to let the boss inspect the goods.
I leaned on the doorframe, brow raised, and if I am not satisfied, he smiled faintly, eyes glimmering.
I don't do refunds on deposits, so I'll make sure you are pleased.
I was worn out from the day, not in the mood, but a beauty offering himself. Hard to say no. Besides, it didn't have to go there. I stepped aside to let him in, heading for the desk. His faint scent brushed past me, crisp orchid. I told him to grab a stool, sit across from me, close enough so he couldn't see the books, but close enough that I could look up at that face. Warm candlelight washed over his jade skin. His eyes, clear as inkstones, soaked in water. He sat still, back straight, like a finely carved jade statue. A beauty by lamplight. Something else. Read a few lines, then glanced up at him. Easy on the eyes, soothing. A quarter hour later, I closed the books. Chen Yinyu rose, poured me more tea. The tea was hot, steam rising. I took it, set it aside. Before he could pull back, I caught his hand. Chen Yinyu's fingers paused. He didn't pull away. I looked down, stroked it slowly. Twice. Fine quality. Defined knuckles. Long and strong. A bit rough though. Closed joints. Palm not soft. No matter. With some care, it'll smooth out. I felt it a while more, then let go. I got up, checked the shelf, found a plain pouch. Filled it with 20 taels. Here, take it. Go get some rest. Chen Yinyu caught it. Squeezed the pouch. A slight curve at the corner of his mouth.
Yes. Rest well, miss.
He left, closing the door gently. I heard his steps fade, and thought, tomorrow, I need cash on me. Can't hunt for a pouch each time. Next day, took Chen to see Dad. In the study, Dad stared at art, sighing deeply. Probably mourning the son-in-law who got away. I cut straight to it, pointed at Chen Yinyu, beside me. Father. This is the husband I've taken in. Chen Yinyu bowed, offering a proper, respectful greeting.
I am Chen Yinyu. A pleasure, Master Jin.
Clear voice, poised, not servile or proud. My father said nothing, just sighed long. I knew what he meant. The more you lack, the more you crave. My father studied hard as a boy, failed the exams 7 times, gave up, went into business, fought his way to this fortune. He had money, but that thorn stayed. So he threw silver around, funded scholars, desperate to have someone to fulfill his dream. Shennan, once famous, now fallen, fit the bill. Good with books, decent looking. More importantly, he had that refined air my father could never buy. Gave him money, a house, treated him like a son. If he hadn't insisted on making him a living son-in-law, I'd wonder if he was his bastard child. Too bad. That scholarly pride looked down on us and ran. I didn't care what my father thought. I introduced them, and that made it official. The wedding, the staff handled, no worry for me. Chen Yini was smart. Didn't bother me. Instead, he kept visiting my father's courtyard. Dad ignored him at first. Then, he let him in. And later, passing the study, I heard my father's long-lost laughter. I paused.
You. Not satisfied with messing with me. Now my father too. Number.
No, dear. When I pushed open the door, my father was pointing at that painting, fishing alone on the cold river. He was going on, and Chen Yinyu stood beside him, leaning in slightly, listening intently. When he saw me come in, he looked up, eyes warm, lips curving at me. Master Jin's insight is remarkable.
I've learned so much.
He turned to my father, his tone sincere. My father stroked his beard, face glowing. I glanced at Chen Yinyu. He wore a moon-white robe. The cloud brocade I'd sent over. Clothes make the man. He looked refined. You two chat. I dropped that and turned to leave. Behind me, Dad laughed. Yinyu, come look. This one the 8th day of the 4th month. Auspicious for marriage. The Jin family business is huge. Guests flooding in, friends, strangers, everyone, all coming for the excitement. Chen Yinyu's side was quiet. Just a few schoolmates and a couple of elders. Barely filled 2 tables. After the ceremony, I allied him table to table, toasting and greeting him. Chen Yinyu usually wears plain blues, toning down his striking looks. But today was different. Blazing red robes, dark hair, jade crown, his allure fully unveiled. Lips stained red by wine, eyes slightly tilted, revealing a charm he never shows on ordinary days. He stayed quietly at my side, half a step behind. I'd introduce each person. He'd greet them softly, cup raised, composed and polished in every reply. Perfect rounds, not a single misstep. His poise was genuinely a pleasure to watch. The elder started wary, but after a few drinks, he had them all smiling. He really did me proud. We reached the East Corridor table, the scholars' dad sponsors. They all stood to congratulate us. All smiles except Sin and Hu stayed seated. His fingers gripped the cup, knuckles white, his face was dark as a storm. I pretended not to see. I raised my cup with a smile. Everyone, thank you for coming. A humble toast, to show my gratitude. They all echoed and drank it down. Sun Dan still didn't move. His gaze fixed on Chen Yinyu, cold as ice. Chen Yinyu acted like he didn't notice, lifting his sleeve to refill my empty cup. Movements fluid, eyes lowered, docile as a painting. Brother Shen, he finally looked up, voice calm, not having a drink. Sun Dan's lips curled into a cold smirk. Brother Chen quite a skill, each word crisp, ringing out. Eating soft rice, and so at ease with it. The table went dead silent. I traced the rim of my cup, smile unwavering. Chen Yinyu chuckled too, then tilted his head, his breath brushing my ear, in a voice that seemed quiet. But everyone could hear. He asked, "Dear, is he here to crash the wedding?" I replied in the same tone, "Not quite, just a dog barking." Chen Yinyu gave a soft oh, then reached over to smooth a stray strand of hair by my temple, fingertips cool, brushing my ear. He sighed, his voice carrying just the right touch of regret. I used to think Brother Shen was such an upright man. His gaze swept over Shannon's livid face, and he shook his head. Tone sincere. Turns out he is just jealous. Wretch who can't stand others' happiness. Shannon shot to his feet, chair scraping the floor. With a harsh screech, he glared at us, chest heaving violently. That looked like he wanted to devour Chen Yinyu, alive. I stepped forward half a pace, just enough to shield Chen Yinyu. Behind me, no words needed. I just stared at Shen Nankong. He held my gaze for a moment, then the color drained from his face. Finally, he slammed down his cup and stormed off. The shatter of porcelain cut through the silence. Harsh, Chen Yinyu gently squeezed my hand from behind. Cool fingertips. Still reassuring. I turned and held his hand firmly. Facing the hall full of guests, I announced, "Everyone, please continue." The music started up again. The banquet returned to its bustle. There was still business to attend to, so I told him to head back to the room. Then I thought about it and added, "Don't take off the wedding robes." His eyes caught the lantern light under the eaves. Flickering slightly, he nodded, asked nothing, finished the pleasantries. Half an hour later, I pushed open the door to warm candlelight. He was sitting obediently on the bed. Hair still damp, a bit of his red robe was wet. He'd washed up himself, then put the wedding clothes back on. Very obedient. The nuptial wine was on the table. Seeing me enter, he rose, poured 2 cups. When he handed it over, his fingertips were damp. "My lady." His voice was lower than usual, relaxed after his bath. The nuptial wine. I took it. Arms locked, drank it down. It had a bite, burning down my throat. He set down his cup, looked up at me, candlelight dancing in his eyes, flickering. Chen Yinyin asked softly, "My lady, do you prefer it slow and steady. He paused, a gentle, gradual thing. His gaze settled on my face, or something else. I reached up, my fingertips, brushing his damp hair, winding a half-dry strand around my finger. His lashes trembled. He let me. I leaned close to his ear, my breath grazing his skin. Voice low, for him alone. I like a man who knows how to surf. A quarter hour later, I lay back, on the red silk wedding bed. Breath uneven. Chen Yining knelt by the bed, dark hair mussed. Damp strands cling to his neck. Eyes down, his expression unreadable, only long lashes, casting faint shadows beneath his eyes. I let go of the hand that had been gripping his hair, smoothing the tousled strands, thinking I really needed to give the matchmaker a fat bonus. Where did she find this gem? Worth every penny. After another moment, I nudged his shoulder with my foot. That is enough. He still looked up at me, eyes hazy with moisture. That coolness shattered into something warm and glistening. Chen Yining said nothing, just rose and, undressed, I'd paid him 1,500 tiles up front. He held a stack of new banknotes. Eyes dark. My lady, is this a pre-order? I hummed lazily. Taps the table. Good work. The next few days were blissful. Chen Yining, truly skilled at his craft, once paid, gave his all, attending to me perfectly. That day, at the shop going over accounts, a servant rushed in. Madam, Master Shen is here to see you. My pen paused. It took me a moment to place Shen with Shen Nan. Not seeing him, I went back to my numbers, arguing outside. Door burst open. Shen Nan stormed in, face grim. The servant groveled. I waved them off. Shen Nan was a hypocrite, loved playing the saint, lived in a house my father gave him, wore silk from my family's shops, worth a fortune abode, yet still acted aloof, claiming he didn't care for wealth or status. Now here he was, all righteous outrage, saying he couldn't bear to watch me go astray. My pen froze mid-air, ink nearly staining the alleger. I looked up at him, like he was some curiosity. You know what Chen Yining is like? Greedy, self-serving, no spite, taking him as a husband. That is just. I cut him off, my voice cold. He swallowed hard. Couldn't finish. He sighed. If you are mad, I refused. Don't throw yourself away like this. I laughed. I stood slowly, hands on the desk, leaning in. Mr. Shen, what makes you think I am choosing a husband just to spite you? And what makes you think that if I stoop low enough to pick anyone, it is me, throwing myself away? A breeze stirred the papers. I straightened, brushed off my sleeve. You think too highly of yourself. His face paled, then flushed. I choose Chen Yining. Simple. I circled the desk to face him. He is tall, but I stood above him. He had to look up to meet my eyes. He is better than a hypocrite like you, who wants profit, praise, and gratitude. His knuckles went white. No comeback. Finally he flung his sleeve. Jin Yu, you'll regret this. And he left. I watched him disappear. Steward, I called. He hurried in, sweating. Anyone who let him through. Replace them all. My voice steady. And that house, the Sun family. Take it back. He hesitated. He paused. I shot him a look. Got a problem? Tell my father. I am the one in charge now. He bowed lower. Yes, boss. He hurried out. I stood there. Sunlight poured in, still annoyed. Not because of Shen Nan, but he ruined the good mood I had from thinking about Chen Yining. I headed home. When I got home, Chen Yining was practicing in the yard. He told me earlier he wanted to take lessons, using his own savings, learning music. I figured talent would help him please me, so I hired the best teacher. Now in the courtyard, I lounged on the chair and waved. Servants set out snacks and quietly withdrew. He asked what I wanted. I said anything. Music flowed from his fingertips. I couldn't quite tell the tune, but the spring light, the beauty, the breeze on his sleeves. Lovely sight. I closed my eyes and listened. The sharp frustration, thanks to Goan, slowly settled. The song ended. He came over. Wife, you seem upset. He crouched beside me, looking up, sharp. I kept my eyes shut, just a hum. His voice went soft. Want a hand massage? Special, 15 tiles. I couldn't help but laugh, opening my eyes. His eyes held the sky and me. I looked him over. My gaze landed on his pale lips. Without thinking, I reached out. My fingertip touched his lips. What about a kiss? Chen Yining's lashes fluttered. Deadpan. That is not on special. His lips moved under my finger. Warm breath brushed past. It felt less like I was touching his lips, like he was kissing my fingertip. I froze. I pulled back, teasing. Mr. Chen, the businessman, sharper by the day. He watched me quietly. Then, but who can blame me when my wife's unhappy today? Before I could finish, he leaned in. A quick, soft kiss on my lips, like a dragonfly skimming water. Gone before I even reacted. He pulled back, a smug look in his eyes. Before I knew it, my hand grabbed his collar. Chen Yining was yanked back down. Our noses almost touched. Breathing mingled. He blinked, his tone playful, almost innocent. That was a gift, since you were feeling down. Oh, I met his gaze, so close. I'll pay more. By the end, his lips were swollen. They were pale before, now red, like rouge. That blush on my vanity would suit him. Maybe try it. The thought cheered me right up. So much that, when Lady Shen showed up, I smiled. She wailed in my parlor, going on about her poor orphans, accusing my family of bullying. I stirred my tea slowly. Once she stopped, I looked up. Done. She froze. I set down my cup, quietly but clear. It is my house. I am taking it back problem. She choked, face turning bright red, then started the sob story again. Ungrateful. And now this. Dad rushed in and saw the scene. His brow knotted up. Mrs. Shen saw her savior. She lunged for his sleeve. He looked at me, uneasy. That look of disapproval. And that old habit. Keep the peace, you are. Why make such a scene? If the match fails, no need. I cut him off, waved the steward over. Show them out. No hesitation. 2 sturdy maids, half guided, half dragged Mrs. Shen out, still shouting. The hall fell quiet. Dad stared at me. He sighed hard. You had to do this. Now you've burned that bridge. I stood up, smoothing my dress. I can't stand her. I looked at Dad. My voice flat. Got a problem. He choked, lips twitched. He said nothing. Just twisted his jade thumb ring. Eyes on me, conflicted. I know what he is thinking. I am his only child, not out of love for my late mother, so devoted. He never remarried. He couldn't have more. Thin essence. Hard to conceive. Prayers. A decade of medicine, and he got just me. A girl, no less, but better than nothing. So he raised me like a son, kept me close, taught me the abacus, how to read the books. Business. Reading people. His wish. Keep the business. And bring in a son-in-law who could hold his own. His training. Let me take over. The foundation of it all. I am grateful. But deep down, he favors man. Shen as a man. An educated man. Dad saw himself. The man he wished he could have been. Supporting Xun, and made him feel subtly superior, and made up for lost chances. Plus, male bias. He saw Shen and as his own, one of the men. Even though Shenan and his whole family looked down on us merchant folk. My father didn't mind. That is just the arrogance of a scholar. Fine, tolerable. Something to win over. He even thought I shouldn't sweat the small stuff. Men need their pride. After all, men always need their pride. They're scholars. They're men. My father stood there, lips moving, trying to say more. Those words, I could guess them without hearing. We fought about it. The worst was 2 months ago. He saw I wouldn't agree. He went behind my back to the Sons, trying to match me with Shen An. And that refined scholar looked down on my money-stained family. My father took the brunt of the rejection. Word got around, and the gossip hurt our business. Back then, the way he looked at me, exactly like now, disappointed, with a hint of blame, as if I'd cost him the son who'd carry on his legacy, the heir he'd imagined. I tried to reason with him then, told him to think hard about making a scene over some man. But now you are just tired. You can't even keep up the act anymore. Go to the Suns. Then, let your precious son take care of you. I said that, and walked out. Behind me, I heard his furious huffing. As for his fragile male pride, who cares? The next few days were quiet. My father, I think, was actually choked by my words. He didn't bring up the Sun family again. Business was chaos. I was swamped. Chen Yingyu stayed in his lane. Thither, when I rested, kept to himself, or over books, rubbing temples. He'd hand me tea, just right. He stopped pushing those transactional intimacies. But sometimes, worn out, I'd beckon him over. He'd come, sit quietly beside me, and let me lean on him. I just zoned out on his face, still paid him, but he didn't rush to settle up like before, only when I give. Calm and composed, that afternoon, woke from a nap. He was reading by the window. Sunlight through the curtains, cast soft shadows on his face. Eyelids low, still as a painting. I remembered what Sunan said that day, greedy and spineless. I walked over. My shadow fell across his book. He looked up. His eyes asked a question. I took the book from his hands, tossed it aside. Chen Yini. I leaned in, hands on his armrests. Trapping him. Don't you want anything? He paused, then smiled. Isn't my wife giving it to me? Besides money, nothing else, he echoed, looking up at me, that usual warmth in his eyes faded, revealing something sincere. A clear, quiet light. Badish, I hope my wife stays like this. Mountains of gold, steady as a mountain. Smooth words, yet oddly touching. I lowered my head and kissed his cool lips. Sweet talk. Just the truth. He kissed me back, voice muffled between our lips. Days later, the steward came. The Song family had moved out to a small place west of the city, quite tight on funds. I just nodded. He hesitated, then added, the master sent some silver over. My brush paused. Ink blotted the ledger, spreading into a small stain. Got it, I said, flatly. At dinner, I blamed the slow business, cut my dad's allowance by 60%. He froze, braised pork on his chopsticks, forgot to eat. Slow business. His voice rose, full of doubt. I stayed calm, poking at my rice. Trade on the waterways is hurting. Cash flows tight. He opened his mouth, glanced at Chen Yini, eating quietly, swallowed his words, just sighed hard. Whether he believed me, I didn't care. It was a heads up, but someone actually bought it at first. Chen Yinyi was rarely home. Afternoons, I'd return. He'd be gone. When I'd ask, the servants said he went out to meet friends. I didn't suspect. After all, he went to my tea house. The manager sent daily reports. What tea? What snacks? Who he met? All written down. 2, 3 days straight. He came back at dusk. That evening, after my bath, I was combing my hair. When he came out, hair still wet, and grabbed his precious wooden box. Saturday on the bed counting money. That box held his stash, banknotes, loose silver. Sometimes I toss in extra cash I had on me. In the candlelight, eyes lowered, he slowly ran his fingers over each bill, then counted the loose silver below, focused like he was reading some sacred text. After a long while, he looked up. Lift your head. Neck's pale against your dark hair. Counting what you give me, minus what I spent. About 2,000 left. I nod, waiting for more. He counts savings sometimes. I am used to it. Part of it, sent back to clan, for elders' retirement, he explains. I nod. I know, his parents died young. Only that distant elder showed him kindness. Sends money back monthly. I allowed it. Just then, he suddenly shoves the whole wooden box into my hands. It is heavy. I freeze, looking up at him. Chen Yinyu looks at me, eyes soft and clear. His tones were serious. When business is tight, I don't have much, but it can help in a pinch. He pauses. His voice softens. If that is not enough, I can borrow from some well-off classmates. I just watch him. I stay silent. Seeing that, afraid I won't believe. He quickly adds, his eyes carrying a desperate sincerity. I can cut costs more. No need for nice clothes or food. I can quit the music lessons too. That saves money. Watch him, so ready to scrimp. Life hard with me. I am stunned for a moment. Can't help it. I turn and laugh softly. Who does business like this? Not only emptying his savings, even borrowing to support me. I make an excuse. Say payment came in. We don't need his money. Chen Yinyu listens, doesn't argue, just hums softly. He still pushes the banknotes back into my hand, saying since it is mine, I should keep it. Next few days, he was clearly off. That drive, that hunger to excel at his work, it just fizzled out. He stopped bringing up those paid for nights. After we were done, I'd reach for the banknotes, but he'd gently stop me. Not tonight. His voice was low, face turned away. In the candlelight, his lashes cast a shadow. I raised a brow. What, raising your price? He shook his head, paused, then said, number. Then why? Rare of me to have this much patience, to dig. I tapped his slightly damp palm. Relax. We've got plenty of money. No, it is not that. He cut me off. Then, what is it? He went quiet, rolled over, turning his back. His shoulder blades showed through the thin nightshirt. Wife, just let me, for once, be. Not for money, that is new. Not for money. Then, what for? Then, what? Not money then feelings. He is odd. Could he care? The thought hits. I am startled myself. Then it feels absurd. Between us it is settled. Clear and clean. Mix in anything else, it gets messy. But he is turned away, shoulders tense. There is a stubborn sadness to him. I reach out, my fingertips brush his collar, slightly open, warm skin. Chen Yinyi. I soften my voice, turn around. He pauses, then slowly turns to face me. In the candlelight, his eyes are wet, lips flushed red, marks from my biting, still there. Not after money. I trace from his neck to his jaw, lift his face, make him meet my eyes. So tell me, what do you want? His gaze flickers, emotions churning, but he just lowers his eyes, gently takes my hand, presses it to his cheek. Just your happiness. His voice is low. If you are happy, anything, my happiness. Is he playing a new angle? Think I'll fall, or that heart, the one that should only want money, drifting off course. I don't ask. I roll over, pull up the quilt, close my eyes, silence behind me, just our soft breathing. After a moment, I heard a soft rustle beside me. He inched closer, moving with the utmost care, tentative. And then, a cool fingertip gently hooked around my pinky, just holding on, barely any pressure, like a newborn pup, timidly reaching out its paw, touching its master, eyes closed. I didn't move. Chen Yinyu likes me. The thought stuck like a splinter. It didn't hurt, but it chafed. Business is business, clean and settled. But mixed in feelings, it is like fine silk, stained with grease, an eyesore, and a pain to clean up. Feelings breed hesitation, expectations, weaknesses. If he grows bold and asks for more, do I give in? If feelings sway him, meddling in my choices, enter it, all the tangled mess that could follow. Just thinking about it gives me a headache. What a mistake. I should have known day and night. Skin against skin, even a cat or dog would grow attached. 7 days, rehearsed it 8 times. Clear point. I want money, love, no thanks. If he won't change his ways, this deal's done. That evening, I went home full of speeches. Chen Yinyi sat by the window, by candlelight. He heard my steps, looked up, his eyes in the dim light landed on me. Wife's home. He put the book down, came over. All my cold, ready words got stuck in my throat. I saw his lowered gaze, the pale skin on his neck, and my rehearsed harshness just clogged up. Sit, let me talk, I sat across. He obeyed, his eyes rested on me, a hint of searching. I cleared my throat, tried to stay calm. Chen Yi knew, let's talk, go ahead, wife. I looked into his clear eyes, my advice, turned down my tongue, came out different. You've been off, his lashes fluttered, no reply. I pushed on, trying to steer back, we agreed. Cash for goods, clean and simple, you want money, I want fun, isn't that good? He stayed quiet, just watched me. I got uneasy, softened my tone, almost pleading. Love fades, money doesn't, hearts change. Today I like you, tomorrow maybe not, but silver won't. It is real, grip it tight, it is yours. Endless suffering, turn back, don't stray. I am being sincere, doing all I can. Chen Yini smiled softly. You've said your piece, he asked. I nodded, he leaned in slightly, candlelight dancing in his eyes. You are right, he said, his voice low. Feelings aren't safe, money is. I fidgeted, with my sleeve, waiting. But if I truly fall for you? He paused, looking into my eyes. Wouldn't that benefit you too? I'd serve you even more devotedly. No money, my heart skipped a beat. No money, that is scariest. Chen Yinyu seemed to read my mind, a smirk curling his lips. I've seen plenty of people. Love is the cruelest trap. I am a living example, he said with a self-deprecating laugh, knowing I shouldn't yet, diving right in. He reached out, fingertips brushing my hand. I want your heart. I'd cage myself willingly. Handing you the rope. What are you afraid of? I looked into his eyes, see my own reflection. I am not trying to trap you. It is not you binding me, he corrected. I am trapping myself. If one day, I become a nuisance, or you grow tired of me, just say so. I'll leave on my own. No cleaning, no trouble for you at all. Chen Yini finished, lowering his gaze, then lifting it again. His look was earnest and open. Don't worry, whether it is a sea of pain, or a mountain of gold. I chose this myself. None of it is on you. Chen Yinyu. Words kept spinning in my head. It sounded right. Like a trap I chose, willingly, handing me the rope myself. Sounds like I got the better deal. But is it really that easy? I lay still, listening to the steady breathing beside me. He seemed asleep. But what if? He talks sweet now. Later, this love could breed greed, wanting more. That is trouble. I sat up. I shoved the person next to me. Hard. Humph, Chen Yini groaned. Blinking awake, his eyes were heavy with sleep, hazy as he looked over. I stared at him and asked outright, will you cause me trouble? He paused. His drowsiness seemed to clear a bit. A moment of silence. He turned to face me, his voice low but clear. I adore you, my wife. That is my own matter. Just made plain. I'll serve you, just as I always have. Every rule I follow, not one missed. I am not some teenager who can live without romance. I know what is right. I am not foolish, and I won't cause you any trouble. Lazy from just waking, yet oddly convincing. In the moonlight, his eyes were clear. No hint of evasion. That nagging worry churning inside me, suddenly, settled. That is more like it. I lay back down, pulled up the covers, patted him. Sleep. After that confession, Chen Yini's been clingy as hell. When I work, he drags a stool and sits across from me. Not a word, just shelling pine nuts. Fills a dish, slides it over, staring at me like a cat waiting for praise. I get up to grab something. He gets up too, like a shadow, right behind. I stop and spin around, and he runs straight into my arms, grabs my waist, chin on my shoulder, nuzzling softly. Every breath smells of fresh orchids. Chen Yini, I push his shoulder. Got nothing better to do. He shakes his head. Bold. Serving my wife is top priority. I can't take it. This sweet burden. I shove him out. Go. Go. Go find your school buddies. Grab tea and tunes. Leave me in peace. He blinks. Reluctant, but seeing I mean it. He drags out a yes and leaves, glancing back. Finally quiet. About an hour later, familiar footsteps, outside light and quick. Curtain lifts. Chen Yini walks in, barely hiding his excitement, leaning in close, eyes sparkling. Wife, guess what I heard at the tea house just now? Voice full of glee. Before I guess, he can't wait. Whispering right against my ear, pouring all that hot gossip, straight in. Appointments are out. Shennan placed 3rd tier. He is being sent out to the provinces. He has always been so high and mighty, too good for everyone, full of himself. Figured he'd land a prime post. But he never played the game. Didn't grease a single palm, wouldn't stoop to it. When the posting came, it was godforsaken, middle of nowhere, county seat, remote, disease-ridden. Last guy there worked himself, sick, borrowed money from well-off classmates, promised to pay them back in 2 weeks, kept putting it off. When they heard about his posting, they came knocking. He wouldn't pay up. Instead, he got all sanctimonious, scolding them for being obsessed with money, lacking scholarly integrity. One of them had a short fuse, and it came to blows. Total chaos. Ugly scene. I couldn't help but smile hearing about it. He dredged up all these old stories, told them with relish. Classmates would invite him out, and he'd always refuse, all aloof, said he had no time for that, then wrote bitter poems, mocking everyone else for sucking up. When people finally gave up on him, he went crying to the teachers, playing the victim. Claimed he was ostracized for his integrity. I scoffed, added, he was worse as a kid, shun, and used to say, women should be uneducated, just tend to home and kids, cook and clean. But then, when he saw women actually doing that, he'd frown. I mimicked his snooty, disgusted tone, stuck in the kitchen, day in and day out, no talent, no charm, not a good match. Chen Yinyu froze, then he leaned on my knee, shoulders shaking. He laughed quietly. That man, he sighed with a smile, drawing it out, he wanted it all. A woman who is obedient, yet brilliant, and she has to please him too. He sets the rules with his precious pride. I reached out, twirling a strand of his dark hair. Dusk settled outside. Lanterns lit up one by one. We curled up in that warm glow, utterly content. Chen Yinyu is clingy, not a troublemaker, but hovering around me all day kills my focus. I figured I should find him something real to do. He can't just spend his whole life orbiting me. The house is full of servants, no chores for him. And business, absolutely out of the question. We both knew that. One day, he was by the window, staring at some book. I tapped the desk. Chen Yinyu, I called. Want to go back to the academy? It is a special place. Spring exams aren't mandatory. Students can stay, keep studying, or leave and find their own path. Chen Yinyu felt he wasn't ready, so he didn't sign up. He chose to graduate, but no sooner had he shed his robes than a matchmaker brought him straight to me. He looked up from his book, the Jin's live-in son-in-law, a hint of confusion in his eyes. Why go back to the academy? To prepare for next year's spring exams, I said matter-of-factly. His expression froze. The moment he heard that, I was even more surprised. You've studied for over a decade. Don't you want to pass the exams and bring honor to your family? Even as a live-in son-in-law, having an official title changes things. Chen Yinyu was silent for a moment, then looked at me with a complex expression. He said slowly, wife, I think passing the imperial exams might not be as stable and practical as living off you. I looked at the serious look on that handsome face of his, speechless. Chen Yinyu was very self-aware about living off me. He said, confidently, since I eat the Jin family's food, I should guard the Jin family store. Taking care of you is my duty. How could I be distracted and think about running off? I am not. I cut him off. Forget about me, just yourself. Do you want to take the exam? He paused. What scholar who is studied for over 10 years wouldn't truly want to pass and stand proudly in court? Chen Yinyu's fingers curled, unconsciously. Those hands, I've traced them before. The thin calluses on his knuckles, left from years of holding a brush. He was about to say more, but I cut him off. Take it, I said simply. We have money if you fail. I'll support you. His eyelashes fluttered. He didn't respond. Then I slowly added the second half. But if you pass, I'll say, my husband's an official. How impressive is that? The moment I said it, Chen Yinyu's head shot up to look at me. The light in his eyes flickered. Suddenly, he reached out and gently hooked my finger. Okay, he said, I'll take it. I contacted the academy, greased some palms, and stuffed him back in. At dawn, we rode out together. He in blue, me in silk. We parted at the academy gate. I watched him stride through that red door. Not like study, like battle. By dusk, the carriage returned. He came out with the twilight, smelling of ink, carrying scrolls. Seasons turned. Time flew. A year passed the exam eve. He tossed and turned. I couldn't sleep. I kicked him. Stop squirming. He caught my ankle, voice low. Wife, what if I fail? I scoffed. Fail? Then keep living off me. He paused, then asked, what if I pass but can't stay? Posted to some backwater. I turned. Darkness hid our faces. I felt his breath. I touched his tense back, patted it. He relaxed, leaned closer, forehead on my shoulder. If I am sent away, I paused, twirling his hair. Then, we'll have to taste love letters by post. He froze. He held me tight. Number, he mumbles. Where's my wife? Where am I? He thinks couples shouldn't be apart. Passed, ranked second. I am staying in the capital. Dad's grinning ear to ear, pacing the hall. Great, great. Yinyu, you've made us proud. He'd funded many scholars before. Now a few have pull at the ministry. He asks Yinyu, where 6 ministries, Hanlin, or elsewhere, we can pull some strings. Yinyu thinks it over, seriously. Eyes clear when he looks up. Easy, quiet, well paid, close to home. Dad pulls his hand back, behind his back. That, he clears his throat. We can't pull that hard. In the end, we settle for easy, quiet, and close. Hanlin, as a clerk, sorting old files, close to home, a 15-minute walk. The pay, the day he first handed over his salary, I asked him, why, just the change? Yinyu shakes his head, struggling. He says, wife, here is the whole thing done. I solemnly tucked away that little pay. Tough, really tough. That night in bed, I reach for his waist out of habit. His lean body tenses, but he doesn't pull away. In the dark, he suddenly speaks up. Hands, 40 tiles. Kiss, 100. Sleeping together, 200. My hand freezes. Raise an eyebrow. What is up? Since he confessed these intimate things, money's never come up. Food, clothes, I handle it all. Giving him some cash monthly. He saves it up, rounds it off, sends it to the elders. Yinyu turns, facing me. Chen Yinyu, turned over to face me. Just joined the academy, and they're already taking turns hosting. They've hosted 3 times. I can't not return the favor. That won't do. He paused. I sighed. Feeling a bit wronged. You saw my pay yourself. I am broke. I couldn't hold back my laugh, so he leaned in closer. His nose grazes my ear, warm breath close, so I had to go back to my old trade to make ends meet. Please, miss, buy something. Before I could finish, the door slammed shut. Between kisses, I gasp and push. Chen Yini, you are a court official. He chuckles low, lips trailing down my neck. So now the price went up. Chen Yini's whole life seems like everything always came back to money. When he was a kid, he'd hide behind the door. Parents fought over money, mom, crying. Father sighed, the sharp clink of coins hitting the table. Later, he knelt in his parents' shrine, listening to the clan argue over where he should go, whose table's got an extra plate, whose house gives up a room. Every calculation was laid out to the last detail, and as he got older, he worked. Copying books, he'd carry pens, even run errands for people. Ink-stained fingers, traded for warm coins. He knew exactly where he stood in life. Just find a good family to marry into, keep it simple and safe. So when he heard the Jin family's eldest daughter, when the Jin family announced they were seeking a son-in-law, he went. But before that, he'd actually met Jin Yu 3 times. The first time was right after he got into the academy. The Jin family is the academy's biggest sponsor. Miss Jin drops by sometime. That afternoon, he just finished studying. Walking off his thoughts in the corridor, he turned a corner and ran into a group. His teacher was leading, escorting a richly dressed young lady. She wore fine silks, her eyes showing a life of ease. Yin Yu, perfect timing. His teacher called out warmly, "This is Miss Jin Yu, of the Jin family. Miss Jin, this is our new student, Chen Yini." He bowed politely, bowing low. "Student, Chen Yini, a pleasure." Miss Jin, his manners were flawless. Jin Yu gave a slight nod. Her gaze lingered on his face a moment, cool and detached. "Mr. Chen," her voice was steady, calm, nothing more. They passed each other, and he caught a faint, delicate scent. Crisp and precious. He stood still, listening to her footsteps fade, as his teacher chuckled. "That one's talented, but his family's a bit poor." The rest drifted away with the wind. But soon after, he got word from the academy. The Jin family had granted him a full scholarship, all fees covered. Round 2 came on an unexpected rainy day. He was copying books at a shop for a few coins. On his way back, the sky turned, and rain poured down. Clutching his cloth bundle of books, he hurried along under the eaves, looking for better shelter. He just stopped, and was shaking water off his clothes. I looked up through the rain. Our eyes met. Across the street, at the silk shop, a young woman stepped out, dressed in finery, graceful with servants around. The rain blurred her features, but her eyes clear, calm. She glanced over, almost carelessly, then turned, helped into a grand carriage. The Jin family crest marked its side. I looked away, staring into the rain. Moments later, a servant hurried over with an umbrella. "From my mistress," he said, and left. No room for questions. I gripped the smooth handle. A faint, familiar scent lingered on it. I looked up. The carriage was already pulling away, wheels splashing through puddles, vanishing into the mist. I walked back under that wide umbrella, kept perfectly dry, not a drop on me. The third time was when that fool, Shinan, turned down the marriage, causing a scandal. This year students were graduating. By tradition, they'd invite the city's top merchants. The Jins were included. Invitations sent months ago. Chen Yinyu sat up front, watching Jin Yu step onto the stage. He stood there, gaze sweeping calmly over the crowd. All the academy students. I gave a slight nod, then came as asked. "Seeing you all, pillars of our court, it warms my heart. The Jin trading house. If the chance arises, I'd gladly build a future with you all." Pleasantries done, he fell silent. Head took over. Below, Chen Yini's fingers traced the page edge. He watched her stay calm, as if that Shinan mess never happened. Why, the Jin heirs had seen it all. Crack over a poor scholar's words. Lose face. Number. His gaze shifted, landing on Shinan across the front row. Back straight, chin lifted, still that aloof, arrogant look. But in this context, seemed absurd. Chen Yini inwardly scoffed. Most folks had sense. Shunan's antics, to any clear eye, were just plain crazy. He wanted Jin money for school and land, yet called it staining his pride. Wanting it all. Nothing's that cheap. He looked back at Jin Yu on stage. The thought of latching on flashed by. He paused, then chuckled at himself, shaking his head. The Jin threshold is high, with nothing to his name. How could he reach it? He looked down at himself, at his faded blue sleeves. But 2 days later, news of the Jin family seeking a live-in son-in-law spread like wildfire. Across the city, Chen Yanyin was staring out the window at a half-dead orchid, listening to Widow Wang chatter. His heart leaped. He slowly turned around. The sunlight outside fell into his wide eyes. Well, isn't that convenient? Chen Yinyin initially only wanted the money. When he set his high price, he knew exactly what he was doing. A family like the Jins seeking a son-in-law, just for peace of mind. It wouldn't last. He had to, while favored, save up silver and learn some useful skills, so he wouldn't be kicked out empty-handed again. So asking to learn the Guqin wasn't just an excuse, an extra skill. Even if he left the Jins, he could teach at a music hall or tutor rich kids, enough to get by. He treated it as a deal, calculated to the last detail. But Jin Yu Jinyu was so different. He saw her checking accounts, swift and sharp. One stroke of the pen deciding thousands in silver. He saw her handle. She'd ice out merchants with a few cold words, and they'd be sweating bullets. But more often, he saw a side of Jinyu no one else ever saw when she closed a big deal. Her eyes curved like a cat with cream. She'd feed him a sugar cake. When exhausted, she'd slump over her desk, hair a mess. Mumbling the books made her dizzy caught. She didn't mind, just shot him a lazy glare. No bite. Like a feather brushing his heart. She was a magnet, drawing his gaze without trying. At first he admired the boss's nerve and generosity. Then, his look carried something he didn't notice. He'd note her favorite snacks when she'd rest. What troubled her when she frowned. These small observations went beyond professional duty until she said, the tavern's cash was tight. Chen Yin believed her. He'd never seen a fortune collapse, a fortune fall, but he'd seen ruined families. Anything can happen overnight. Those days, he gathered with some friends, analyzing with grave faces. One said, heard the canal routes were troubled. Shipments delayed. With the Jin family scale, the hit must be big. Well, tall trees catch the wind. Someone's jealous, quietly sabotaging them. The more they talked, the more it seemed the Jin family was old Chen Yini, hearing the boss might fold. He'd be planning an exit, hoarding every last coin. That was his lifeline. But his thoughts kept circling back to one thing. They'd already tied the knot. The title was set. The deal was real. But husband and wife, that was true too. He'd never seen a loving couple. His folks fought over money daily. His clan was full of bitter pairs. Birds in the same woods fly apart when trouble hits. He'd read that plenty. But he didn't want to fly. Not just that. He wanted to take his own savings and pour it all in. Every bit helps. His friend was about to ask his plan, but then he turned and saw that look. That dazed, fixed stare. His heart sank. This guy was gone. Friend Ding tested the waters. Yinyu, you are not thinking. Chen Yinyu snapped back. His voice was eerily calm. We tied the knot. Friend Yi nearly choked. Who said it was cash and done? That's son-in-law gig. It doesn't count. Chen Yinyu looked up, eyes sharp and cold. Why not? The marriage contract was fake. The ceremony was fake. He paused. Word by word, we're husband and wife. Legal. Proper husband and wife. Silence. Everyone there knew exactly what Chen Yan used to be. The class love guru for a fee. Charging. Purse action. Dissecting everyone's romances. Like a pro. Break up or make up. All depending on the pay. But when it came to himself, this is what happened. Friend Bing was heartbroken. Yingyu, wake up. That is the Jin family. If it really comes to that, your money won't even make a splash. But Chen Yinyu looked like he'd found his just. I am more sure each time. Even ordinary couples share the good and the bad. She is having a rough patch now. As her husband, isn't it my duty to help? Friend tries to reason. Fine, even if it is about loyalty, helping her now with everything you've got. She might be grateful, but if she pulls through, she'll never forget you saw her broke. That'll sting. Old money cares about face. Chen Yinyu shakes his head. She's not that way. How'd you know? I am with her day and night. I just know. Besides, helping someone in need builds the deepest bond. If she bounces back, she'll remember my kindness. A mortal strategist. 1 versus 5. His core point. We're married. I've got to take care of her. Friends keep hammering away, but he stands firm. The golden advisor who once woke countless lovesick fools. Now, he is fallen headfirst into his own love trap. Can't even pull himself out. He heads home with that burning desire to help make ends meet. But the estate's the same. Servants in order. No sign of a storm brewing. He breathes a little easier, still a bit puzzled. Until that night, he works up the courage, pulls out the box, and says what he'd rehearsed. We'll get through this together. Jinyu freezes. Then she turns away and lets out a soft laugh. He watches her shoulders shake with. The Jin family's tree runs deep. His talk of storms and ruin is laughable. Sure, it is awkward. Like a poor kid. Pennies to build a palace. There is disappointment too. Faint. Like a feather, this life. He'll never catch up to her. He can't earn mountains of gold. She doesn't need him in hardship. Those hidden, unexamined hopes of standing beside her. They're snuffed out fast, but the ache lasts a second. What floods in is relief. Like a tide, it washes away that tiny sourness completely. Good, he thinks. Good that she is strong, unbreakable. Good that she'll never face the storms he knew as a kid. No frowning over silver. No bowing down. When times get rough, he'd rather stay, her optional extra, her bought and paid for fun, than watch her fall, touched by any sorrow. She should stay bright-eyed forever, with riches. Steady as can be, he thinks. In this life, he'll never share her hard times. So he'll share the good, eat hers, spend hers. Being kept by her isn't so bad. He looks up at her. In the candlelight, her face is bright, smile still lingering. Chen Yinyu takes a soft breath, carefully, tucking that relief away. Just watching her smile is enough. In this life, that is it.